who's ever seen one of these? Okay, it's a Dyson vacuum cleaner. It's one of the best vacuum cleaners out there, not because it's super powerful or anything, but because it's super user-friendly. Okay, so it's wireless, it's small and portable, it holds a great charge, it's easy to empty, and because of this, I love it, right? I evangelize about it to people. I tell my friends to get a Dyson. I even told my son to get a Dyson, and he did. Anyways, okay, so one day, a really close friend of mine called me to tell me that he converted, right? He bought a Dyson vacuum. And our way of celebrating over the phone is I just go like, yo! And then he goes like, yo! And we just do that back and forth for like 10 minutes, right? But after the 10 minutes, oh, yeah, my son got the Dyson. Okay. But after the 10 minutes, I asked him which model he got. Did you get the V7, the V10, the V15? And he said he got the Dyson Big Ball. That is the Dyson Big Ball. Now, the Big Ball was the one that was not wireless. It wasn't portable. It was big and clunky. It's not the vacuum I think of when I think of Dyson. And I almost felt like I told him to like go try McDonald's for the first time, and he got the mini donuts, right? It was wrong. It was wrong. And so, but he loved it so much that I just didn't have the heart to tell him he got the wrong model. But to be fair, it does seem like the Dyson with the strongest suction. So I just went like, yo, sick, congrats. I'm a terrible friend, but I was following an invisible rule. Okay, there's this invisible rule. To each their own. We are a culture of inclusion. We include people that we think are wrong. We include people we think are super weird. And you know what I'm talking about. People who think pineapples don't belong on pizza, those who only ever wear Crocs, and those who obsess over the summer I turned pretty. I'm sorry, Pastor David, I watched one episode and it was just terrible. But this inclusion, we can't do anything about it. We don't tell them off because we're not allowed to tell people that they're wrong, or they're right, or it's good, or it's bad, right? Everyone, this goes beyond just prejudice as well. So I have friends who identify their religion as like half Buddhism, half Christianity, half Lululemon, and whatever else. It doesn't make sense, it doesn't fit together, and yet to each their own. Everyone has their own truth, and it's the truth, their truth is all equally valid, right? Isn't it? Well, that isn't what Christians believe. So one of the biggest reasons why Christianity is so offensive is because we claim to have the exclusive, absolute truth, right? The only way to life, and we try to convince everyone that they're wrong and we're right. And that just does not fly in our culture. It's so narrow. It's so closed-minded. We're taught to be progressive, we're taught to be accepting of everything, and Christianity is not that. But what if Jesus was right about himself? What if he is the cure to our broken world? What if exclusively following him is the only way to an abundant life? I think at the very least, it's worth taking a look at. So in our passage today, Jesus makes a claim about himself, and I want you to join me in kind of thinking about it before we blindly accept it or we blindly reject it. And so it's from John 10:9-10. I am the door. If anyone enters by me, he will be saved and will go in and out and find pasture. The thief comes only to steal and kill and destroy. I came that they may have life and have it abundantly. So Jesus makes two really big claims about himself in this message. The first is that he protects us. So to fully understand this analogy, we have to understand the context. He's talking about sheep. So I said a few weeks ago, sheep are just really dumb, they're really defenseless, making them really easy targets for wild animals and even robbers. And so they always need protection, especially at night when they're sleeping. And so shepherds, they would create this big pen made of rocks to keep the sheep in and the predators out. And Jesus is saying that he is like the door for the sheep, the only way into that place of safety. And he's that for us. He's the only way to true safety and security. If you read a few chapters before our current passage, you'll know that Jesus said these words to the religious leaders of the day. So these were the people who were supposed to know the way to a good life, the way to God. And he was arguing against these leaders, saying that they had their own teaching on how to be safe in life. So they claimed that the door to safety is to behave, right? To do well with their own system, to follow thousands of rules so that God wouldn't be mad at you and so that you're socially accepted into their culture. Jesus sees that and straight up says, no, right? That kind of system just steals, kills, and destroys. And I'm sure you've seen this kind of religion before, right? It's full of Christians who are judgmental. They're prideful. They're unloving. And though they think they may be following Jesus' way, they're not even entering the safety pen through him as the door. They're trying to enter through their own door. They're entering the route of the religious leaders. Even apart from religion, we've all experienced rules, standards, expectations, social norms, people you have to please, a way of living that you depend on to define you. So nowadays, thankfully, we don't have thieves that are trying to steal from us. We don't have wild animals trying to kill us. We don't even have invading nations that are trying to destroy us. But we have something much more pervasive doing that. It's often the people we follow and the systems that we commit to. It's often even ourselves. The real battle seems to be a lot of times in our minds, right? The thoughts, the ideas, the self-talk we have. Maybe it's just rerunning all the times you have failed. Or maybe it's all the times you've been abandoned and left behind for not being enough. Maybe your mind echoes again and again the painful words you've heard growing up from those who were supposed to protect you. I have that. I grew up hearing a lot, what's wrong with you? And so guess what echoes through my head nowadays when I don't meet expectations? It's, what's wrong with you? Guess what motivates me when I'm in that headspace? It's fear, right? It's me trying to prove to myself and others nothing is wrong with me. That, for me, is the thief that comes to kill, or comes to steal, kill, and destroy. But what if this Jesus story is true? We have something different from anything we find in our culture. Because on the one hand, Jesus doesn't lie to you and say, there's nothing wrong with you. You're perfect the way you are. I mean, you're pretty great, but you're broken. And on the other hand, he doesn't crush you with rules and expectations, right? No, he sees our brokenness and he accepts us and he loves us despite all the things that are wrong with us. But he doesn't stop there, right? He goes beyond, above and beyond. He offers a new life that he paid for with his own. And he's working for our good. He's redeeming every tragedy. He's giving us a life where it's greater than this one that lasts forever. I think that is security. That is safety. To not have to worry about disaster or rejection or even death. He is the ultimate defense against the thief that comes to steal, to kill, and destroy. He is the door, the only one that leads to ultimate protection. But it doesn't just stop with us just kind of be stuck, like we're stuck in a safety bubble and that's it. That sounds like a terrible life, right? The second point our Bible passage teaches us is he prospers us. So let's go back to the sheep analogy, right? When sheep no longer have to worry about protection and safety, what is their greatest desire in life? What do they live for, right? What are their dreams and aspirations? Grass. That's it, right? They live for food. And they can't get that hiding away in the pen. They need to go out and get the grass. And Jesus is the door that leads them there. So let's read again what he said. I am the door. If anyone enters by me, he'll be saved and will go in and out to find pasture. The thief comes only to steal, kill, and destroy. I came that they may have life and have it abundantly. The way Jesus gives sheep abundant life is not only providing them safety, but also bringing them out to grassy pastures. That's what he says he'll do for us. See, some people think that Christianity is all about ending up in hell, right? It's insurance, right? It's a defensive tool. But that's only half the picture. The other half is that Jesus leads us out into a fulfilled and abundant life, one that reflects what we look forward to in heaven. But for you, what defines an abundant life? What are you chasing after? In grade 3, there's this kid named Kent, and he was considered really rich among us because he was able to buy a bunch of like sticks of Starburst candies. And for the rest of us who had no money, that was mega wealth, okay? So he did this weird thing with Starburst. He ate some of it, he enjoyed it, but with most of it, he rallied people up a hill And then he would throw the Starburst as far as he could, and the kids would just all run after it, okay? He was like their master, they were his dogs, and they were just playing fetch. Luckily for me, I didn't like candy too much, I didn't like Starburst, so I didn't give up my dignity for sugar. So I was just watching, I'm just like, look at these fools, right? Becoming idiots for candy. But one time, instead of Starburst, he threw quarters, and bam, I instantly transformed into like a dog and played fetch. I look back at the story and I feel so stupid, right? I thought a few quarters was worth trading my dignity and my control over myself. But thankfully, in grade 3, it didn't really matter. Not many consequences, no one really thought much of it. But what does this dumb chasing translate to nowadays? What does it translate to nowadays? When you've spent years of your precious time investing into a game that will never pay you back, or relational energy into countless partners that have always let you down, or a career that promises joy but actually acts as a barrier to enjoying life, what then when all these things have failed you? And the reasons why these things don't satisfy us is because we were made for something much greater. Sheep were made to be fulfilled by grass. We get the privilege and the honor of only being able to be fulfilled by a relationship with the God of the universe. We were made to know Him, to live for Him, to invest beyond this world. In all that, we get the joy and the responsibility of reflecting Jesus to others through love and truth. As we obey God and others, we are made complete. That is what Jesus is saying. He has come to give us life to the full. And He leads us to places that will satisfy us. He's saying that He has already given us something incomparably better than anything we can find apart from Him. That is Jesus' claim. But how can we know that the claim is true? And my answer to that is that we need to follow the evidence. So Christianity is actually quite unique among the religions of the world in that we are only asked to believe what is reasonable and well supported by evidence. And the Bible points us to all kinds of evidence. Through history and the historical method, we can be confident that Jesus rose from the dead. From science and math, we believe that everything isn't just random chaos, no, that God created the world. Through ethics, we have a sense of right and wrong that isn't just arbitrary, random feelings. It's based off the character of the one who created our world. We sense it in our own lives and experiences when we see the Bible working, and we see God's promises proving themselves to be true in spectacular and powerful ways. And finally, we hear it through the stories of other people.